I started back in the early 80s and I was a junior financial analyst for Norwegian Caribbean Lines, well before they changed the name to Norwegian Cruise Line. I always enjoyed travel and I was studying for the CPA exam at that time, and a position came open in the newspaper. And I responded to an ad in the newspaper for a financial analyst, and I just sat for the CPA exam, and I was, becoming a public accountant, and they had a need, and it was a good match, and so I kind of fell into it. But I like travel, and this looked kind of interesting, and it was in Miami, the cruise capital of the world, so that's how I kind of started. What makes me passionate about what I do is that there are destinations in the world that are iconic, and that you see them, whether they're London or Miami or San Francisco or Hong Kong, and they're all places where if you were to come in there on a ship, there'd be 5, 6, 7 or more ships in those given destinations. So those have all been tried, and they're great, and there's places for those ships in the industry going to those destinations. But for me, what gets me excited is to find those new hidden gems, those new destinations that are truly off the beaten path, and to introduce some community that wants to get their toe dipped into the cruise waters and get the cruise line and the guests on board those ships to experience things that they've only seen in magazines. Two ways. I find them, one is as simple as opening up National Geographic Traveler or Condé Nast or a Far magazine and flipping through and looking at the pictures and looking at what is the buzz from a media standpoint, and seeing, oh, I see that could be a place that we might want to consider. And then coming to conferences like Sea Trade and other ones, and talking to people from those destinations and say, what do you think about this place? And seeing the possibilities. And what I really get a charge out of is when somebody says, oh, I don't know if you can bring a ship there because there's not a pier or there's not a cruise terminal. And me, I'm a small ship guy. I am a guy that doesn't need all the infrastructure. The companies that I've worked for don't necessarily need the extensive infrastructure that many of the big cruise lines need. And so when I hear no, I try to look and figure out how can I turn that no into a yes. That's a top 3 destination. That's a really tough question, because having traveled in, I can't even count the number of places that I've been to, but all 7 continents, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for natural beauty and wildlife and a beach with 500,000 penguins, I would say go to South Georgia in the Antarctic region. If I'm looking for something that's mystical and spiritual, I'd say, why don't you consider Yangon and the country of Myanmar and go and meet with Buddhist monks there. If I was thinking about something that was a tried and true cruise destination and where you can just sit down and watch the world go by and sip on a cappuccino, I would say Taormina, the town of Taormina. There's lots of different places around the world. This business, this industry is all about relationships and the connectivity. And years ago, 20, 30 years ago, the buzzwords, or one of the catchphrases was, knowledge is power. So what you knew is what got you ahead. But today, I think with the advent of social media in the last 10 years or so, that's transformed. And I think it's more about the relationships and the sharing of information. And I can be an expert in some places around the world, but I don't know everything. There are places that I have no idea, that I've never visited, but I have to be able to speak intelligently about them. And the only way I can do that is to come to conferences like Sea Trade and talk to people that are here, that are from those destinations, and listen to them and connect with them. from a social media standpoint, yeah, I can read about it, but when you have that one-on-one discussion about why I should bring 100 to 6,000 people to a given place, that's why conferences like this and C-Trade overall is great. When I started doing a lot of traveling, I had to travel to India, and I was going there, and I worked for a small company, small cruise line, and I had just started doing a lot of traveling, and they said, Emilio, when you're going to India, we have about 200 crew members that are signing off, and some signing on, and you need to take, can you take the airline tickets for crew members that are signing off with you, rather than us send them, you know, it's getting pretty tight, and can you take them with you? And I said, sure. And I took this stack of tickets with me, but I couldn't fit it in the bag that I was carrying on. So, well, I'll put it in my piece of luggage. And I did. And it was the first time I realized, don't ever take anything valuable and put it in the luggage. The luggage, my one piece, did not arrive, and I had to go to the ship. And when I went to the ship, I was persona non grata coming on board. I had to have, you know, every meeting that I was with attending after that while I was on board, I had, can you taste my food before I eat this? Because I was afraid that they might have poisoned the food. I mean, because people were like, I'm supposed to sign off tomorrow, and where's my ticket? It was hugely embarrassing, a real education for me to never, ever do anything like that again. Be receptive, be open, and never say no, and look at every experience as an opportunity to either be successful or to learn from. That's really the most important thing as a young person coming into this industry. And for me, I've done that, and it's given me the opportunity to work in the finance arena, in marketing, and in sales, and now with destinations. And it wasn't a direct path. I didn't ever see that I would end up where I am. I started off as an accountant. But where I am today, and being open to all kinds of people. I might meet somebody from a given destination and say, we're never going to go there. Why would I want to choose this particular destination? But then you sit down, you talk to them, and you learn a little bit more about where they're going, and you say, huh, we could possibly do something there. So when I say be open, never close your doors to anyone. Always be receptive to new challenges and new ideas, because you never know where they lead.